everyone, this is MrAddOil again, helping you fight your today for your better tomorrow. And in this video we're going to be talking about how I made a transition from how I made transitions from the preparation stages of becoming a software engineer to joining a coding bootcamp, and then ultimately resetting and becoming committed to a self-taught developer route. So basically the first stage was preparation stage. I was trying my best to prepare for a coding bootcamp. So for about a year I was using free resources like Free Code Camp, Udemy, and other affordable and valuable resources to prep up. And in the second stage I actually did finally join a coding bootcamp. And long story short, I'm pretty sure you saw from my last video that I ultimately dropped out. So I joined that coding bootcamp in the beginning of January 2019, and I stayed for 6 weeks, and I realized that it just wasn't worth the value, the amount of money that I was paying, which is not worth what I was getting. So I decided to drop out, and this goes to the next phase. And lastly, full circle, I went back and actually committed to the self-taught developer route. And next I want to kind of share I guess like the state of mind I was in each of these stages, right? Like the preparation stage, the coding bootcamp, and the self-taught stage. So when I was in the preparation stage, it was more like, it was pretty relaxed. I had a 9-to-5 job at the time, and then after my 9-to-5 I would actually study, or even I will wake up earlier in the morning to get some practice in and study some coding, right? And there wasn't really any like tension or stress, because I knew that, you know, this was just prep work for the real adventure, or the real hard mode, which would be eventually coding bootcamp. And during this preparation stage, it was all about preparing financially, also like preparing curriculum, doing research on a coding bootcamp, and just getting all the fundamentals in check before I jump into a full-fledged coding bootcamp. And then my state when I was actually in a coding bootcamp, initially I was really excited. I was like, man, finally, I just quit my job from doing sales, and I jumped into a coding bootcamp. And I was like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. Like, things are gonna change. But I joined an online coding bootcamp, and that actually did not work out that well. I talked to one of the salespersons at that coding bootcamp, told them my goals, and then ultimately they were basically saying, hey, yeah, your goals sound viable. Within 3 to 4 months you should be able to graduate and become a full stack web developer. So I was really excited. Then I plunged in, right? So I was doing pretty well initially. Like the first 6 weeks we were just covering basic things like HTML, CSS, and basic JavaScript, which I already prepared for my preparation stage. But then when we started getting into like topics that I haven't really covered in depth, like React, Node.js, and just like the things that are kind of harder, you could say, that's where things got stressful. It was crazy. Like, even though it was like an online coding bootcamp experience where I'm just at home coding, the experience itself was pretty similar to like my friend who was attending App Academy. He mentioned in several instances that he actually broke down and cried like twice. And then I had a similar experience when I was doing the self-taught route, because I gave myself a lot of stress by trying to finish it within 3 to 4 months. And I was just trying to blast through like the curriculum, the self-paced curriculum. And then it was designed to be like 6 to 8 months. So I was stressing myself out that I couldn't finish projects on time, and then there was just a lot of stuff to learn, right? And worst of all, it was all text-based curriculum, so it was really boring. And then in this like chaos state, like you become stressed, depressed, and just there's a lot of negative emotions or anxiety. You're in this state of this bad state, right? It really is detrimental to your learning and just your overall morale. So during that stage, like I felt like I wasn't really learning. I was just like forcing myself, and it was a really bad place. And then come full circle, within 6 weeks I just did something very I wouldn't say dramatic, but then like when I was telling my friends that I was gonna make this decision, they were like, "Are you sure? You already planned like 6 months or like close to a year to actually do a coding boot camp. You should stick it out, right?" And then some of my friends who had like computer science background, they're basically saying, "Hey, when I was in college, it was really boring and whatever, but I just stuck with it, and here I am now." And I'm like, when I was hearing all these like reasonings from them, I was just like not satisfied. So I ultimately had to find my inner voice and figure out what decision was the best for me. And then it turned out dropping out and actually committing to being a self-taught developer was the best fit at the time. And that was a great decision because immediately the stress was gone. I felt like I had control over what I wanted to learn and what I needed to learn based on like the jobs that I was trying to target for, right? Like mostly I was trying to target for like front-end developer roles. So you don't really need to know to like a full extent like the back end using like Node, Express, or stuff like that. So it allowed me to really focus in on just getting better on the front end, and that just removed a lot of stress and then kind of boosted morale, and also helped me like it rejuvenated my desire to learn how to code again. So yeah, I mean, that was my story of basically like the 3 stages that I went through, right? The preparation, the coding bootcamp, and the decision to fully commit to being a self-taught developer. And in the next videos, we're going to be talking about like the benefits of becoming a self-taught developer in depth. So I'll see you in the next video.